Hello everyone and welcome to this new Eurovision video. Today we will continue with my new Eurovision project. Last week I started and what is the idea is I'm going to be reviewing all of the entries of all Eurovision countries from 2010 up until now. So last week we started with Albania and 2018 came out on top of that. And today we will be reviewing Moldova. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, first question is always, what is it that you think about when you hear Moldova at Eurovision? What word is popping into your mind? Because let me know in the comments, because when I think of Moldova at Eurovision, the thing that pops into my mind is cheeky. Extremely cheeky. Which is why I think Moldova is such a fun Eurovision country. Aside from cheeky, I think Moldova, as we all know, is incredible at staging, and specifically staging on a budget. So I think, it's a super fun country. So let's get into it. All right. In the last place here, it is 2014.
Mercy, I have no feelings of mercy. Destiny left me so empty.
And honestly, this is just not a good song. Something about it sounds like it had potential to be a nice song, but it just sounds like a really basic first demo version of the song, and it just sounds cheap to me. And her voice being so low, her voice being so deep, doesn't help it either for me. So I'm not a fan of the song, and neither am I really a fan of the performance. I thought it looked a bit too gimmicky with the hair and with the type of dress that she was wearing. It's just not to my taste, and I think in comparison to everything else that Moldova has offered, I think this really stood out to me as the last place, unfortunately. So the song received a 3.5, and the performance I gave a 5 in this case. In number 12, we have 2011. Now, I can appreciate the fun of this performance, but these are usually not the type of entries that really appeal to me. Although I must say that over the years I started enjoying this a bit more, but this is for sure not something that I would ever listen to, and it's not really something that is really one of my favorite things to watch. And I can't say that this is bad at all, because I feel like these type of songs, and we'll get to it later with the other song that they did in 2022, these songs I feel like need their own league, because I can barely properly compare these songs to all of the other songs and performances. They're just so different. But yeah, for now, unfortunately, 12th place only. The song I gave a 4, and the performance I gave a 6, because in the end it is fun, right? So we move on to number 11, which is 2019 Stay. No, I don't think this is a bad entry necessarily at all. I actually quite enjoy it most of the time when I'm watching it. I just think that the song, is a bit basic. It also doesn't sound like it's full. It sounds like it needs more instrumentation or something. I do love her voice. I did really enjoy the staging, to be honest. I think with the type of song that they had, I think they did what they could. With the lady with the sand, I really enjoyed that. I also liked some of the LED floor moments in the performance. I think it was great. Unfortunately, quite low still, 11th place. Overall, the song received a 5 for me because I think it's just a little bit boring, but the performance itself received a 6.5 from me because I do enjoy the performance. Then in 10th place, we have 2022.
Let's go! Folklore, rock and roll, like a prelude, hey, ho, let's go! Folklore, rock and roll.
And like I've just said before, I feel like entries like these should have their own league in terms of these ratings because I just cannot compare this to the ballads and to the other fun songs that we have. It's just so different. In terms of 2022, it's such a party. It was such a party anthem, and 2022 is not necessarily my favorite Eurovision year, but this was always a fun moment, and I don't think this is the best song, but the performance is just so fun. The performance I gave a 7 because, it's just so enjoyable watching these guys. Especially the guys like on the violin and the accordion, like every single time when I see them, I just smile because it's just so fun to see, and them like dancing. It's super fun. So a well-deserved 7 for this performance. In terms of the song, it's a 4.5 because I would never listen to this, to be honest. But yeah, a very decent entry still for 2022. Then we go to number 9, which is 2016, Falling Stars. It's a catchy song, I think the song is okay. The staging was just, for Moldovan standards especially, super boring in my opinion. Like, I know that they had an astronaut, but I don't necessarily think that this was a big help. I remember watching this performance at the time, and at the time I wasn't as big of as a Eurovision fan as I am now. And I already remember thinking, oh, this is quite fun, but it's just not there yet where it should be. Like, there needs to be more happening on stage. Overall, it's still okay, but in the end, in terms of the performance, it was just like a girl singing an average song on stage with not a lot happening. In the end, still a 9th place, which is decent. I gave the song a 6.3 because I do think the song is cute, and the performance received a 5.3 for me. Then number 8, which is the song of 2010, Runaway. I'm not an extremely big fan of this. To me, in this performance and in this song, the only thing that really stands out is the epic sax guy. The rest of it, I don't really care so much about, which is also why, even though it is, in 8th place in my ranking, both the song and the performance received a 5.8, with, again, only the epic sax guy that really stands out to me. And for the rest, I don't know why, it just doesn't catch me at all. So I don't have much else to say about this. So then in 7th place we have 2013.
Credeam în dragostea ta, speram că nu va secra. Credeam în visele mari, dar ai ales la dispar. Credeam că nu e trecut, viorul ce l-am avut, vreau nou.
And I think this is a super pretty song, and I think the staging was also pretty. And back in 2013, I definitely thought this was one of my favorites. When I look back now, honestly, something is missing. Despite the fact that it's a pretty performance, that she has an amazing look, like the styling is great, the song is pretty, but I feel like her voice is lacking some of the power that the song needs. It all sounds very thin to me, and she also does sound quite nervous throughout that performance. So I think this is kind of taking out a little bit of the magic for me, but I think overall it was still a good song and a good performance. The song got a 6.3 for me, and the performance in the end got a 6. I feel like generally I tend to be quite critical, or not necessarily critical, but I don't rank or rate things extremely high. But maybe we'll see it with other countries. Then we get to number 6, which is 2015.
Nothing can steal you thunder. Sky, you pull me under. 'Cause you got what I want, what I want, what I want. Yeah, baby.
Perhaps this is a little surprising. I don't see this song necessarily being ranked very high. I honestly thought that this should have qualified at the time, because I think this is just a really fun performance. I think in terms of the song, we've heard many of these type of songs before, but the performance, it was fun, and we actually haven't seen this type of performances that much at Eurovision, so I thought it was really interesting. And to be honest, we've seen plenty of dancing women at Eurovision, but dancing guys, we don't get them often, and I really enjoy it. So it is the 6th place with the song 5.5, and I gave the performance a 7. So next up at number 5, it is 2021.
Come over, I'm over to it without you. Come over.
And when I mean cheeky, that is what I mean. I think the song is fun. I don't think it's the best song I've ever heard, but I think it's fun. And I think that she's comfortable on stage, and she's extremely, extremely cheeky on stage. And I must say that sometimes I wish there was a bit more, maybe a bit more authenticity, or a bit more I wish she was a bit freer on stage, a bit more, not as rehearsed perhaps as she was, because everything was super rehearsed, and she was with her big smile on the whole time, which is funny. Every single time when I watch it, I need to laugh. But I sometimes wish it was a bit more loose. In any case, I think it was a nice performance. I enjoyed every single time. So yeah, the performance got a 6.8, and the song got a 6, and it amounts to a 5th place in my ranking. Number 4, that is 2018, my lucky number.
Number 2, keep turning, feel the heat, but darling, I'll do anything for you.
And this is the perfect example of going from, in my opinion, a definite non-qualifier to being a sure qualifier solely based on the staging. And this staging was brilliant because it was on a budget, but it worked so perfectly. It's just such a fun performance to watch every single time. I still don't think the song is amazing, but the performance, they did everything that they could, and it was impressive and it was super fun. So definitely well done to Moldova for this. The song is a 5.5, but the performance is a 7.5 for me. Really, really nice. And up next, in the third place, is 2023. You know, I think this song is nice. I don't think it's out of this world, but it has a nice vibe, and I think the reason why I love it so much in general, the performance, is that there's just a specific energy there that I really like. It's like a bit of a spiritual energy, and it has something very authentic, which just, it just catches me. So I think this is a really, really nice effort from Moldova. The song is a 6.5, the performance is a 7. The performance might have been even higher, the rating for it, if his vocals were a bit better. Because honestly, we must be honest and say that in terms of the vocals, he definitely wasn't one of the better vocalists, especially not in 2023. But in the end, I think it was a very decent performance, so well done. Which brings me to the second place, which is also Pasha. It is 2012.
You have never been to my show. You haven't seen before.
I don't know what it is that I love so much about this, but I just love it. It's just something about this catchy chorus. Again, the cheekiness. Again, I can't really pinpoint what it is exactly. I just love watching it. So yeah, the song is a 6, but the performance is a 7.3. I really, really, really love it. Which means that my number 1 is 2017.
And I said, Mama, Mama, don't be so down. I'm not that abundant boy. Mama, Mama, don't be so down. All keeps going round and round. Mama, Mama, don't...
Which is interesting because at the time, honestly, I really disliked this song a lot. However, when I saw the performance, I was sold because they did such a good job with the performance. Especially what I loved was the backing singers and their dresses and stuff. I just enjoy that, and I enjoy seeing them dance together like throughout the last part of the performance. Super nice. And whereas their entry in 2010, I felt like in 2010 the guy playing the saxophone was the only interesting part, but in this year's I feel like it's all of them together which make this performance so nice. It is really a nice full package that we had on stage, and I think this is Moldova's best result, and I think it was a very well-deserved best result. Again, not my type of song. The song is a 5.5, but the performance was the highest ranking performance for Moldova with an 8. I think very well done. So this was my ranking of all the 13 performances of Moldova. Look at the average scores. In terms of the songs, Moldova scores a 5.4, which is not amazing in comparison to Albania, who had a 6.4 of an average. So they're not doing as well as Albania in that sense. However, in terms of the staging and in terms of the performance, Moldova scores a 6.6, which is actually a little bit higher than Albania. And overall, it is an average of 6, which is still a decent result. So this was the ranking, this was the review for Moldova. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more, make sure to hit the like button, and make sure to comment. Let me know your thoughts on my ranking. Let me know who's your favorite Moldovan entry. I'm very curious to see. So for next week, we will be reviewing Slovenia. So if you are excited about that, stay tuned, and I will see you then. Bye bye.